Imagine standing on a bustling city street, the air filled with the sounds of honking cars, distant sirens, and the steady hum of conversation. Pedestrians rush past, each person lost in their own world, eyes glued to phones or focused on the next destination. Suddenly, a commotion breaks out. A man collapses to the sidewalk, clutching his chest. For a brief moment, time seems to freeze. Dozens of people witness the incident. Some slow down, casting curious glances. Others stop, gathering in a loose circle. Yet, as the seconds tick by, no one steps forward to help. The man lies there, helpless, while the crowd grows, and the sense of urgency dissipates into an uncomfortable silence. This chilling scenario is a classic illustration of the bystander effect, a phenomenon that reveals how, paradoxically, the presence of many witnesses can lead to collective inaction. The bystander effect, first researched in the wake of a notorious 1964 case in New York City, challenges our assumptions about human nature. When Kitty Genovese was brutally attacked outside her apartment building, it was reported that dozens of her neighbors heard her cries for help, yet none intervened in time to save her life. This shocking event captured public attention and sparked a wave of psychological research. Social psychologists John Darley and Bib Latané set out to understand why so many people, when faced with an emergency, might fail to act. Their experiments revealed a counterintuitive truth. The more people who witness a crisis, the less likely any one individual is to intervene. At the heart of the bystander effect are two powerful psychological mechanisms. The first is diffusion of responsibility. When an emergency unfolds in a crowd, each person assumes that someone else will take charge. Responsibility for action is not felt individually, but is instead spread thinly across all the witnesses. As a result, the sense of personal obligation to help diminishes with each additional bystander. The second factor is social influence. In unfamiliar or ambiguous situations, people look to others for cues about how to behave. If those around us seem unconcerned or passive, we interpret the situation as less serious and mirror that inaction. This creates a feedback loop where no one acts because no one else is acting. The bystander effect is not limited to dramatic emergencies. It plays out in myriad subtle ways, shaping our responses to everyday situations. Consider the workplace, where an employee is bullied or harassed in full view of colleagues. Many witnesses may feel discomfort or disapproval, yet few will speak up or intervene. Or imagine a classroom where a student struggles to participate, ignored by both peers and teacher. In each instance, the presence of others diffuses the impulse to help, leaving the vulnerable unsupported. Research has repeatedly demonstrated the robustness of the bystander effect across cultures and contexts. In one classic experiment, participants were placed in a room where smoke began to pour in through a vent. When alone, most participants promptly reported the danger. However, when accompanied by Confederates who ignored the smoke, subjects were much less likely to act, even as the smoke thickened and the risk became obvious. The presence of passive bystanders powerfully suppressed the instinct to help, even in the face of clear danger. Why does this happen? Our evolutionary history may offer some clues. In ancestral environments, group living required careful navigation of social cues and hierarchies. Hesitation in ambiguous situations could serve as a way to avoid unnecessary risks or social blunders. In modern society, however, this instinct can backfire, leading us to ignore genuine emergencies because we are waiting for someone else to move first. The bystander effect is not a reflection of apathy or malice. Most people do not lack compassion or empathy. Rather, the effect reveals our vulnerability to the pressures of group dynamics and uncertainty. When we are uncertain about what is happening or how to respond, we look to those around us for guidance. If everyone hesitates, uncertainty multiplies and inertia prevails. But there is hope. Understanding the bystander effect is the first step towards overcoming it. Studies have shown that when individuals are aware of this phenomenon, they are more likely to break the cycle of inaction. The key is to recognize that, in any emergency, each witness has a unique and irreplaceable role. If you see someone in distress, do not assume that others will respond. Take initiative, even if it feels uncomfortable. Your action can serve as a powerful signal to others, breaking the spell of collective inaction and mobilizing help. One practical strategy is to single out specific individuals for assistance. Instead of shouting, "Somebody call for help," direct your request to a particular person. "You in the blue shirt, call 911. This approach interrupts the diffusion of responsibility, making it clear that action is needed and that the responsibility falls to an individual, not an anonymous crowd. Education and training can also make a difference. Programs that teach basic first aid, conflict resolution, or bystander intervention empower people to respond confidently in emergencies. The more prepared we feel, the less likely we are to freeze when someone needs help. Schools, workplaces, and community organizations can all play a role in equipping people with the skills and awareness to act decisively. The bystander effect also invites us to reflect on our shared humanity. When we witness suffering or injustice, we face a choice: to remain passive, blending into the crowd, or to step forward, even at the risk of standing out. History is filled with examples of individuals who defied the expectations of the group, changing the course of events through a single courageous act. Whether it is the person who pulls over to help at the scene of an accident, the colleague who speaks up for a mistreated coworker, or the neighbor who checks on someone in distress, small acts of intervention can have profound ripple effects. In the age of social media, the bystander effect takes on new forms. Videos of emergencies or injustices are shared widely, sometimes prompting public outrage, but not always resulting in meaningful action. The ease of broadcasting can create an illusion of participation, while diluting the sense of personal responsibility. Clicking share or expressing outrage online may feel like action, but it is not the same as offering help in the real world. The challenge is to translate awareness into action, to bridge the gap between witnessing and intervening. The bystander effect also intersects with issues of power and privilege. Marginalized individuals may face greater risks when intervening, or may be less likely to receive help from others. Recognizing these dynamics is essential for building inclusive communities where everyone feels safe and supported. Allyship, solidarity, and collective action can counteract the isolating effects of bystander apathy. Ultimately, the bystander effect is a mirror, reflecting both our vulnerabilities and our potential for courage. It reveals how easily we can be swept along by the currents of group behavior, but also how each of us holds the power to disrupt those patterns. When everyone sees, no one saves, unless someone decides to act. So, the next time you find yourself in a crowd, confronted by a situation that calls for help, remember that your instincts matter. Take a deep breath, assess the situation, and be the one to step forward. Your example can inspire others to follow, transforming a circle of onlookers into a community of helpers. In that moment, you become the difference between silence and rescue, between indifference and compassion. The bystander effect is not an inevitable fate. With awareness, education, and a willingness to act, we can rewrite the script. We can create a culture where helping is the norm, not the exception, where the sight of someone in need triggers not hesitation, but immediate, coordinated action, where everyone sees, and at least one person saves. In reflecting on the bystander effect, we are reminded of the profound impact of individual choices. Each of us is capable of making a difference, no matter how small. The next time fate places you at a crossroads, surrounded by witnesses, remember, your voice, your hands, your courage can break the silence. In a world where everyone sees, let us strive to be the ones who save.